Hi everyone, welcome back to whoever is returning, and welcome to whoever might be new. Today I wanted to just spend a little bit of time talking about something that I believe is the foundation of any goal setting, and as the title might suggest, that's time management. So quickly, I just wanted to talk about maybe my history when it comes to time management, what's been working for me, what hasn't, and what maybe I'm looking to improve as I move forward after I post this video. So yeah, we'll get started. So to begin, to quickly talk about the history, the first time that I remember being involved in any form of time management and scheduling was when I was maybe 7 or 8. I remember when I was a kid, my dad just came to me one day, told me to sit down at the table, grab a piece of paper, a ruler, and a pen, and to basically draw on a blank piece of paper 7 columns for each day of the week, and multiple rows for any hour that I was going to be awake. So with that, after being drawn everything, the days would be, named off, and then the times would be numbered off from whenever I woke up to wherever I went to sleep. And each hour slot would be assigned to something, whether it was going to school or maybe going to practice or whatever it was. And then that was my first attempt to, my first experience with any form of time management. Obviously, as a child, it was more of a chore than anything. But looking back at it now, I guess that it just put in me the idea that there is a need to be able to schedule your life a little bit, to be able to find success. Like most of us, I was assigned a timetable and a schedule when the first day of school started. And that was kind of like the first formal introduction to scheduling, right? So we get your timetable at the beginning of the year. This is the time where you need to be at school. This is the time you have to go to a certain class. This is when you get lunch, and this is when the day ends, right? So as I grew up and going through high school, my responsibilities just increased, like most of us. You start working, you have to do other things, grab groceries, or maybe come back and make dinner and all. And you had to be able to make sure that everything was able to be done. You knew exactly what you had to do, and you knew exactly the time you could allow yourself to be able to do other things, but it wasn't really strict. I want to say that when university started, it became a little bit more strict because obviously the stakes are a little bit higher. You're paying a lot of money to be in university, and keeping on top of any assignments and preparing for any exams is very important. So that's something that I became better at doing with time. But I noticed that after graduation, I had a bit of stretch of time wherein I was looking for work and unable to find anything. So it was time that I took to basically just forget or lose the habit of following a very strict schedule, and that was for a couple of months. Once I started working, I had to regain that ability and that habit of setting myself a timetable or a schedule that I was able to follow, because I really quickly noticed that I wasn't able to do things outside of work. So obviously I knew what time I needed to go to work, and at that time I didn't have a car, so I was commuting across the city for, I think it was 1.5 to 2 hours on the bus to be able to go to work, and then the same thing to come back. So I didn't have enough time to get anything done when the day ended. So without having a strict schedule to use up the little bit of time that I had free in between work shifts, it was crucial for me to get a schedule. So I started looking into different options. So I tried to go back to the method that I had mentioned earlier, which was just writing down on a piece of paper my days and then my times. But I noticed that obviously as schedules evolve, at the time the job that I had at the time wasn't a very regular schedule. So maybe sometimes I'd work in the morning, sometimes in the evening. And because of that, I wasn't able to have a very regular schedule that I could always rely on repetitively. So I decided to go into other methods, and one of those methods actually ended up being writing something on a board. If I can find my board. The idea is very simple. So you have multiple days, and then you basically put them down, as you can probably do them by week if you wish. I prefer to do mine by hour in the day, and any major event that needed to happen throughout the time was kind of put down in a little bit of a list. So each day would have something important. Maybe I work, and then I have to spend time at the gym. And eventually, it's something that I actually ended up walking away from, because same thing as the paper method, it ended up being that there was only so much that I could write on a board. And it was hard to be able to just move things around really efficiently. So I put that away, and I decided to switch to using an application. And currently, Google Calendar is what I've been using. I think Google Calendar is great. The main reason being that it's free. I think there's a lot of interesting options that are out there, but when it came down to what I needed to have access to, spending another subscription amount on something else was not something that I was interested in doing. So just because I do a lot of my work on docs or on sheets, and just I was familiar with that environment. So what ended up happening is that I put the way that I started using the Google Calendar was that I would put anything that I didn't feel like I would normally do, right? So something like work would not be included in my calendar because that's something that I'm doing. Currently, I have a stable job. I work at the same time every single day from Monday to Friday. And everything outside of that, I need to be reminded of it, right? So that was also a cool thing about the Google Calendar. Not only am I able to put every single thing that I need to do on a calendar, but I am able to get notifications on my watch, actually, conveniently enough, that let me know when it's time to be able to get something specifically done, right? So at some point during my work, I try to meditate every day. That's something that I've been trying to do. Still working towards that. I don't enjoy it very much, but it's something that I'm trying to become a bit more regular in doing because I do see some benefit, and I know it's something that'll probably help me long term. But my watch will remind me, okay, this is this time. It's time to take away 10 minutes of what you're doing, put everything down, and just sit down and meditate and just be in the moment. It'll remind me, for example, on every other day before I go to the gym, I decide to do my core exercises at home and then do my cardio and strength training at the gym. So it'll remind me, okay, take a bit of time, take a 30-minute to be able to do your core exercise, and then later on you're going to the gym. It'll tell me, okay, it's time maybe to spend an hour creating videos like I'm doing right now, or maybe take a little bit of time to read a book. So a bunch of different things. The Google Calendar is nothing like in compare to a piece of paper or a board, right? But ultimately, I'm a strong believer of just mixing many different methods to make sure that you actually get things done. So for anybody who's maybe looking for a method to be able to schedule their time, I would personally recommend just doing a mixture of multiple different things. Being able to sit down and writing on a piece of paper can sometimes be more effective than maybe typing something down or just doing something digitally on your phone. It's something that I probably have to look into a little bit deeper. I feel like I'm just saying something like that, but that's through my own personal experience. So I guess taking it with a grain of salt. There's probably some research out there, and if I do fall across some interesting research, I might mention it at some point in the future. But writing something down regularly is kind of nice for me. It helps kind of put my thoughts as purely as they can be put on a piece of paper. Putting a visual board like the one that I showed earlier, something on the wall that you can look at as you go throughout your house or wherever you're currently staying, could be very nice, because at least it gives you like a large visual reminder you can't escape, that this is what maybe you need to look forward to during the day. And obviously, because most of us are glued to our phones and we're not going to let that go anytime soon, having reminders telling you to get things done on your phone can be a healthy way to be able to stay on track and to kind of know that something is coming, prepare yourself, right? So I would personally suggest doing a little bit of everything. That's what I've been doing recently, and that's what I found success in. But other than that, I'm still looking for other methods to be a bit more consistent. And that's going into the second point that I wanted to talk about. So the scheduling point we've already briefly touched over, but I wanted to talk about the actual effort of getting the work done that you schedule yourself to do. Scheduling is great, and I think it's a fantastic first step. But there's a big difference between putting something down on your schedule and actually doing it, right? And that's something that I feel like I've been struggling a bit with recently. There seems to be a lot of different things that I want to do, and I sometimes have the time to do it, but the motivation to get it done isn't there. Obviously, having the visual reminder is great, but the act of actually doing the action has to be a conscious effort. And that's something that I'm currently working on. Sometimes I get so caught up in something that I'm doing, whether it's productive or not, that I ignore things that I maybe had scheduled. And that's something that I feel like I need to work on. I know, because my own experience has shown it, that if I'm able to do something consistently for a long period of time, obviously there's improvement, and also there's success, and I reach whatever goal it is that I want to reach. Like simple thing, maybe like the gym, you started going to the gym multiple times a week, you've been eating a little bit better, you've been taking care of your body, and obviously the result kind of shows. So that's literally with everything. But sometimes I feel like the motivation to get something done isn't quite there. So I've been working towards actually putting a conscious effort to stop what it is that I'm doing the moment that I get my reminder. So for example, today I was mid-work and I get my notification saying, oh, it's time to meditate, take your 10 minutes. So I put down my work, even though I didn't put it down exactly at the moment I should have. It was maybe 15 minutes afterwards. I put it down. I went to sit here on that little chair down there and just did some breathing exercises for 10 minutes and just went back to work. And it can be very easy to avoid whatever task it is that you set for yourself, but I think that if I went through so much effort to create my schedule and put it down, I must have, in a better state of mind, have thought that this is something that I got to do. So weeks go by and I'm no longer feeling the way that I was when I first put that schedule together, but that trace of who I was at that time is still there, and I need to trust that when I was doing that, I was aspiring for something great. So the conscious effort of actually going about to do what it is that you set out to do doesn't come easy, but my belief is that it becomes easier with time. So I have been putting more effort towards doing those things and making sure that if I did put anything in my schedule, I go and take some time to do it. Obviously, there are things that happen in life, right? So if you have multiple things a day, maybe you get sick, maybe something happens, maybe one day you just can't deal with anything. Whenever I go through those days, I try to be honest with myself and I tell myself, okay, what was I able to do? What was I not able to do? And why wasn't I able to do those things? If I'm able to tell myself that at least I tried my best that day to get everything done, that's a win for me. And I think it should be a win for everyone. So I feel like this video is probably gone long enough. I just wanted to invite you, whoever it is that felt the need to watch this video, to spend a bit of time, if you haven't already, to choose a tool that you think is good for you, right? Obviously, I'm just a random man on the internet just talking about his life and whatever he wants to do, but what worked for me may not work for you. I think that it takes a little bit of effort to be able to find exactly what it is that you want to try, and at least try for a little bit before you try to move to something else. So give yourself maybe like a couple weeks, 2-3 weeks, to see if that method works for you, and try your best to be consistent at using that method and also at implementing or just working towards whatever you set yourself to do during that time. Like I mentioned earlier, not every day is perfect. Sometimes you just don't want to do things, and that's fine. That's okay. But as long as you are able to tell yourself you did your best that day, I think that's really all that matters. So that was my little rant regarding time management. If there are better things that I'm able to try that I believe work for me, I will definitely share them, because I believe that knowledge isn't just meant for one person. So if a better app comes across, if there's a better method, this is something that I learned from somebody else, from watching a video or for talking to someone that I think I should share, I'll definitely come up here and record another one of these and just kind of share it. But for the time being, thank you guys for watching. If you feel like there's something that you want to mention in the comments, just go right ahead and just say it down there. And it does serve as some encouragement to see that people may be thinking about participating and just sharing their experiences. So let me know what maybe has been working for you, how long you've been using it, different things that you tried in the past, and then yeah, let's get a little conversation going. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys again some other time.